Now, let's talk about what a lot of us have probably been doing for the weekend, gorging on chocolate Easter eggs. So if you're a fan of chocolate generally, you might want to listen for the next few minutes, because chocolate as we know it is changing, believe it or not. Cocoa prices are expected to double in the next 5 years, which inevitably means producers will put less of it into the chocolate we buy. Angus Kennedy is editor of trade magazine Kennedy's Confection. Angus, why is the price of cocoa increasing?
Well, there's a number of factors that are contributing to this, really, Brand. One of the main ones is the predicted increase in consumption in Asia and places like South Africa and Nigeria and Vietnam, of all places, and China. So there's a very big demand coming from Asia at the moment, and this is combined with some of the problems the industry is facing.
Is there a decrease in production as well?
Well, of cocoa, not really. I think the cocoa production has remained fairly stable. In fact, one of the really interesting figures that I came across quite recently that I hadn't seen before was that if you look at all the major crops of the world, things like wheat and barley, various other crops, since 1930, wheat has increased its yield per hectare by tenfold, and cocoa is zero. So it's one of the only crops in the world that hasn't increased its yield per hectare, which is quite astonishing if you think about it. And this is all to do with investment.
Perhaps we're a little bit cynical, but generally when a product gets more expensive, less of it tends to be used. What are the alternatives, and how could it change the bar of chocolate?
Well, I think we're already seeing some of these changes already. There is a sort of classic shrinking chocolate bar syndrome with edges curved. This is kind of bit of a trend now, and it's even been coined with various phrases in the US, and that's already started happening over here with certain chocolate bars and assortments as well. So that trend has happened already. Now, what's really interesting is that the price of chocolate is certainly going up on the high end, so you can get some really expensive Easter eggs. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen some of them, but I saw some Easter eggs over the weekend for about £30 to £40. I couldn't believe it.
Some people have said, OK, as well as some bars getting smaller and eggs getting thinner, but the actual makeup of the chocolate will change over time. So what we're used to will feel and taste slightly different. You've seen some of these changes.
Yeah, it's what's happening is that the cocoa butter content. Cocoa butter is a byproduct of the cocoa bean when it's pressed. That's the most expensive ingredient in your chocolate bar, along with cocoa powder. So the obvious way of saving money, if you want to reduce your costs in producing a bar, would be to take these elements out. Now, the cheapest is sugar. So generally speaking, it does seem that some products have got sweeter and there's less cocoa butter, because you don't have to claim the percentage of cocoa butter in a bar on the wrapper. Now, I don't think that's right. I think they should have to say how much cocoa butter is in a chocolate bar, but it can be replaced with vegetable fat.
All right, Angus, thanks for speaking to us this morning.